That God will give us the raw elements and place the raw elements inside us. And now it's our job to cultivate what God has given us. And we're busy praying for the finished product and not understanding that, dude, it's on us to cultivate. Number 6, multiple income streams. So this is partly what I'm talking about as well. This thought that usually when we're in the workforce, the only thing we're thinking about is, if I need more money, I need to get a second income stream. I need to get a second job.
Yeah.
That's usually the way we think. As opposed to saying, no, I could hire people who work for me. That could be another income stream. No, I can have an investment in a mutual fund that pays me interest or dividend. That's another income stream. So it's this idea of multiple income streams. And I'm convinced the longer we're around, the greater opportunity to create multiple streams of income. And we should. Ultimately, the greatest use of money is to make more money. Money should be making money. And so this comes back to the conversation I mentioned earlier, this idea of consumerism. Consumerism is all about consume everything you get.
It's true.
As opposed to saying, here's a lump sum of money and I'm going to take something with it, I'm going to grow it, and my money is going to actually make money. So multiple streams of income. Let me give you an example of something that I did. This is, I think, 3 years ago. This is actually when I launched my initial video journey. I was teaching financial stewardship and some other concepts and some business concepts, because one of the things I've done is I've been selling online since 1998. So you do the math. It's, more than 25 years I've been selling online. I've sold over $500,000 of products online, mostly comic books. Talk about something that you're like, you're a grown man selling comic books. Yeah. Mostly that, over $500,000 online. And one of the things that I took on a challenge and I actually filmed is I said, I'm going to take $100, I'm going to grow it to $10,000 in 10 months. $100 to $10,000 in 10 months. I'm going to take the family to Hawaii. And that's exactly what happened. So I did it by thrifting. And thrifting is this idea, you go into a thrift store, you buy something, then you go online, you sell it for more. Or you go to a garage sale. And I think the first deal I pulled it was during the summer, took my initial $100, and I found this guy, garage sale, and he was selling like sporting good equipment. And he had this beautiful set. It was catching gear for like a little league size, but it was in like perfect condition. So it was probably his grandson was in little league and outgrew it. So I bought that. I bought some photo albums. There was a couple of things. I forget what else I bought. Like within 2 weeks, I sold the catching gear for like 180. And I still had lots of other stuff. So I turned like the 100 into 200 within like a week and a half. Then I took the 200 and I bought some more stuff. And I kept flipping it and getting more and more and more and more. So by the time 10 months was up, it was me and the family on the beach in Hawaii. Cool. Exactly what we had set out to do. So this idea again of another stream of income, right? Another idea of, in this case, it was basically flipping merchandise to make money. Very labor intensive, I will say that. Very, very labor intensive. So I'm not going to, I'm not going to sugarcoat that. Very labor intensive. That's why I'm not doing it today. I don't have the time for that. But very, very labor intensive. So multiple income streams. Number 7, talking about the mindset that you and I should have to ultimately have better finances, is relationships. Our greatest asset is relationships. It's about the people that we know. It's about the connections that even God can use to grant us favor. Especially if our desire is to go into business, if our desire is to do anything like philanthropic, like if we really want to help people or we want to get, like I said, a lot of people have a heart for doing things for underprivileged people. You don't necessarily have to like start a new organization. Like you don't have to say, oh, I want to help. I'll give you an example. Like this issue of water in certain parts of the world is a big issue. I don't have to physically go halfway around the world to dig wells or to start a company that digs well to provide water. So I partner with this company. It's called Pure Water, I think it's called, mm-hmm. Or Charity Water. It's called Charity Water, and they dig wells all around the world. And I just look at them, I did a profile, researched them, watched their videos, and said, this is an organization I want to support. So I physically give them money on a recurring basis. And they're going out and doing the work. So it's about a relationship. It's about I'm connected in some way. And it might be me and 10,000 other people. So he doesn't really know me personally. I don't know him. But the very fact that I'm in relationship with that organization on a giving basis, I'm able to do impactful things on the other side of the world. Things that ultimately one day I'll be commended for. Remember what Jesus said, if you even give a cup of water in the name of the Lord, you'll get a commendation. Well done, good, faithful servant, right? Just because you gave a cup of water. To the extent you've done it to the least of these, you've done it unto me. So that's an example of a relation. So when I say relationship, I want to be careful. We're not talking about like a hustle.
Right.
And some people, they don't know the difference. But it's a business opportunity. They call them like independent business owners, IBOs. And I'll say, the business, and this is how you know. Usually the person who pitches you they'll be very vague about what it is. Like, hey, are you interested in a business opportunity? It's an amazing business opportunity. And I want you to come to the seminar. It's only going to take an hour. You tell me, like, well, what's the opportunity? Well, come. And, it's better if you come. I really want to show you come to this thing. Like, dude, you're not telling me anything. Like, you're wrapping it into a riddle. Like, that usually is like a red flag for me. And I've had people approach me. Used to happen all the time when I was being on the subway because I'm like all suited. Hey, you look very prosperous. You look like you're doing well. I got an opportunity. I guarantee you it's going to make you 3 times what you earn now. Let me give you my card. I want you to come. It's a business. The business. And you look at the card, it says like the business. Like the heck is that? It's like, currency do not tell you. Aren't you interested? I'm like, no. You mean you're not interested in making 3 times what you earn now? What kind of car do you drive? Guarantee you see this picture? This is my car. It's a Beamer, brand new, whatever. And I just got this one. And, the plate says like I've arrived. And and they sell you on this stuff. It's like a multi-marketing. Some people call it a pyramid scheme. It's not quite, but it's pretty close to it. Like I bring you into the business. Everyone you bring in, I get a cut of it. And everyone they bring in, you get a cut of theirs. So everybody is out recruiting. So you wind up being like a recruiting madman, getting people into your business. A very, very famous and popular business model. And the people who make the most are the first ones, the ones that are at the top of the pyramid, because it's a kickback all the way up, every single person. So if I get one person, that person gets 2 people, those people get 2 people, you give it enough time, there's 1,000 people, all those 1,000 people are paying me. So me as the founder, am I rich? You better believe I'm rich. Do I have the nicest car? Absolutely. Those pictures of me on the beach and with the sailboat, are they real? You better believe they are. Is that going to be real for everyone in the pyramid? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And I told this to my son once because he was very intrigued and there was this person really hitting him up. I said, here's the reality of it. I said, is it real? Yes. Can most people do it? Absolutely not. You have to be very, very good at the ask. That's how you know if you can be successful. If you can sell stuff to strangers, you've got a special gifting and you could probably be successful at it. If the only people you can sell to are your family and friends, forget it. Because after a while, you're going to chase them away. You cannot expect your family and friends every single month to support you selling your whatever it is. At a certain point, they're going to say, listen, I don't got it. At a certain point, they're going to see your phone call coming in. They're not going to pick up the phone. Like you cannot build a successful business off of the backs of family and friends. You have to be able to sell strangers. And so that's what I told my son, like, if you feel you can go up to certain strangers, multiple strangers, and get rejected time after time after time and not lose your energy and passion for doing it, then you're one of the very few people who can be very successful in sales. And then maybe it makes sense for you. But if that's not you, like I know I couldn't do it. I try to sell you something like, I'm not interested. I'd be like, I would get so discouraged so easily.
That would be me. I would like try and then I'll go, no, it's not.
Yeah, it's not for me. It's not for me. So relationships, resilience. Resilience is what I basically am just talking about. This idea to never quit. So oftentimes as it comes to things like business opportunities, a person will quit because it's not working. As opposed to a person who's more resilient, who's saying, it's not working yet because I haven't figured out how to make it work. And that's why usually I'm a big believer in you research things before you start. And if there are other people, if you have real confidence that there are other people who do it successfully, that should be some indication that you can do it successfully as well. But you have to be resilient. So if you try it and you're making mistakes and it's not working, it doesn't mean necessarily that it won't work for you. It might mean you just need to be more diligent or be smarter about how you're doing it. So most people will quit before something works. And that's one of the reasons I really do feel very strongly that in the scripture, the principle is do not despise the days of small beginnings. God starts us off with small things to see if we're resilient enough to keep at it, to see if it'll grow into something bigger. And the terminology the scripture uses is being faithful. Are we going to be faithful with this thing, even when maybe it seems like it's not being successful, it's not fruitful? Are we going to, do that ministry even when no one notices, when it's getting hard, where you've been doing it year after year after year? Are you going to continue a pastor, a church, when it's only 5 people or 10 people or 20 people, and you'd hope you'd be pastoring hundreds and hundreds of people? Are you going to keep at it? Like, where's your heart? What did you have in mind with this thing? Because it may never get bigger. That might be the level of success where you're at. And that's all that's going to be entrusted to you. And so, in my experience, most people will quit. They are not resilient. They will quit just because it's not what they thought. In their mind, it's quote unquote not working. So they have the wrong mindset. This idea of an abundant mindset. Number 9, we're almost done with the mindset piece. Abundance mindset. So think about the fact that when God puts Adam and Eve in the garden, he says, what? Be fruitful and multiply. Fruitful. So he talks about fruitfulness, and in a portion of scripture before that, he talks about, I've given you every seed-bearing fruit that has its seed within itself. So this idea of being fruitful, or another way to look at it is being seedful, is a biblical concept that goes right back to the very start of Genesis. So this idea of, I'm going to give you something that has seed in it. Now you've got to work the seed. You got to take it, you got to plant it, you got to water. There's so many scriptures, parables that speak about like farming and fruitfulness and working and tilling and putting in the work, because it's a fundamental principle that we see in nature. Like, you don't get an apple seed today and you have apples that you're eating tomorrow. If you put in the work, which is considerable, and then you grow a sapling, which eventually becomes a plant, which eventually will become a tree, and after a while the tree becomes fruitful, guess what? You will have hundreds and hundreds of apples. And guess what? Each apple contains
Seeds.
more seeds, and you keep it going. So I think oftentimes what I see is, this goes back to the verse of scripture we were looking at, Deuteronomy 8:18, where God says, I have given you the ability to get wealth. God doesn't say, I'm going to give you wealth. He says, I give you the ability. So oftentimes what God will give us is he will give us seed. And he says, what are you going to do with the seed? And the problem we run into is we're looking for the finished product. We're saying, God, give me an apple. He said, I gave you an apple seed. Go plant an apple tree. Get all the seed you want. We're saying, God, give me a table. Give me a chair. God said, no, I gave you an apple seed. Now go grow a tree, cut down the tree, and you have all the wood you want and all the wood you need. Okay. Like, God will give us the raw elements and place the raw elements inside us, and now it's our job to cultivate what God has given us. And we're busy praying for the finished product and not understanding that, dude, it's on us to cultivate. And so we miss out so much because of that. That really is an abundance mindset. The abundance mindset is, I'm going to take what God has entrusted and placed within me, and I'm going to multiply it. And then, remember, we talked about this last week as well, when we talked about the parable of the manager and the stewards. He said, when you take the one from the person who was unfaithful, give it to the one who had 10, and everyone complained like he's already got 10, like he already has enough. He says, no, give him the 10 and then he'll have an abundance. That's the words that are used. Actually, I think it's in Matthew 25, the word abundance is used. So if you and I are to be abundant, fruitful, massively fruitful in every area of our life, what we need to do is cultivate everything that has been entrusted to us, everything that's planted within us. Does that make sense?
Yes.
We're looking for a shopping bag full of groceries, and God gives us a shopping bag full of seeds and says, go ahead, work with it. I'm going to send the rain. I'm going to give you good soil. I'll give you instruction. I'll give you wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. But you got to do the work. Do the work, right? And oftentimes we have this mindset is, okay, I'm going to pray about it. Do You can pray about it, but you better do the work.
That's true.
You better do the work. And then lastly, number 10, talking about mindset, is focus on systems rather than trading time for money. So I'll give you an example. One of the business endeavors that I went into, I think it was in 2022, is a business model for online sales called drop shipping. Have you ever heard of drop shipping? Drop shipping is basically, I list a product for sale. Someone buys it. I then buy it from a third party and have it shipped to the person who bought it from me. So I don't physically ever take possession of the product. It's not like I'm selling. There's stuff I've sold where literally I go to my closet, I get the thing, I wrap it up, put it in a box, I walk to the post office. It's very labor intensive. Drop shipping is basically you never touch the product. And in most cases, the person who buys it from you, they don't really know that you don't have the product. You're drop shipping it. Most of the time, watch this, most of the time when you buy from Amazon, you know you're not buying from Amazon. You're buying from someone like me, or you're buying from a drop shipper. They're just using Amazon as a platform to list it. So you're going on there. That's why if you look very close, it'll often tell you like a different name of the company.
Yes, it does.
You'll be like, what is this? Carlos Rivera's products. Now, you have the same expectations as Amazon because you trust Amazon. So you're going to purchase whatever it is, a book, a used book, whatever. You see it a lot on books. Like if you ever go to buy a book,
yes,
you can see like 30 people were selling the same book in different conditions and stuff. Those are people like me. Sometimes it's Amazon, but not usually. So a lot of the products that you're actually buying online, especially on like Amazon or Walmart.com, are actually being sold by individuals like me. And oftentimes we're just drop shipping it. So tell you my drop shipping excursion, because I studied it maybe for about a year. I said drop shipping. I said, I want to pursue that model because the other model that I've been pursuing that got me to Hawaii, which was thrifting, very labor intensive. I'm like running around, going to Salvation Army and going here, then I'm working a full-time job, then I'm coming home with all this product. My wife is giving me a dirty look, like, my house looks like a warehouse. Right, it looks like a warehouse. So I experienced, there's a downside to that. The good side is I was making a lot of money. The downside was like, the house was a wreck. It looked like a warehouse. So I said, I want to try this other model that exists, which is drop shipping. So I want to try drop shipping. And I'm going to hire these workers from the Philippines to do the work. The workers from the Philippines are what I call virtual assistants, VAs. So I got 3 VAs who are actually very experienced in drop shipping. So they know how to work the platforms. They knew drop shipping, they knew Amazon, they knew Facebook Marketplace, they knew eBay, and I think it was Mercari. I think I was using 4 platforms at once. I hired 3 people. They were making between $3 and $6 an hour. For them, that was good money. As a matter of fact, the first woman that I hired, she was a Christian woman. She was so thrilled. She stayed with me probably a year and a half. She was living, literally, they're impoverished out there. So it was probably a house about this size. It was basically a shack. Like whenever we get on Zoom calls, you see like a curtain. Like that's how they separate rooms, is a curtain. You don't have walls, you have curtains.
Yeah.
Like the kids sleep here and there's a curtain. You don't sleep here. And I think she had like 8 people under her roof. She had her brother under the roof. She had the parents under the roof. Like that's the way they live. You live communally like that, which is kind of sad. So for an individual like that to make $3, $4, $5 an hour is really good money. Within a year, she bought a house in the Philippines, and she was so thankful. Making just $5 an hour, she was able to actually move out of that shack and buy a house. And she was so thrilled. And I was thrilled to be able to say, wow, I'm actually impacting someone's life through employment. So I had 3 VAs. I started, I think, in May, maybe like of 22. May of 22, I think. Opened up a business, started drop shipping. The first time I dropped it, I said, I want to see if I can grow this to $1 million business in 1 year. That's $84,000 a month in sales. Can I have $1 million business in 1 year? Let's see. And I'm not doing a whole lot because I hired 3 people to do the work because I'm working full time. Let's see. May, I made 0 sales. I'm like, I'm just starting up. June, I think I did like $1,300 for the month. I was like, and meanwhile, I'm paying these people, so I'm paying them more than I'm making, but I had some money to start with. But the money I would start with quickly, and like by August, I was like making like $3,000. Then like September was like $10,000. All right, it's starting to get there. Now they always talk about the best time for sales is October, Q4, October through December. It's Christmas shopping. So people are buying everything. Come October, the sales exploded. Oh my God. 30,000 a month. It got to the point where I didn't have enough cash to really sustain it. So I actually had to get another company because Amazon takes like, I don't know, 3 weeks to pay you. So you have to buy the product, but you don't have the money to buy the product because Amazon hasn't paid you yet. So there's another company that came in, I forget, Payability that came in. Payability would give me my money within like 2 days, but then I have to pay them. So now I'm paying 3 workers and I'm paying Payability and I'm paying all these fees and platform fees and all this kind of stuff. But it was firing. So remember, my goal was to make $1 million, $84,000 a month, which is equivalent of $1 million a year. And I said, I want to do it in a year. October was up, November was higher than that, December was higher than that. By January, so my first month of sales was June. January is what? Month 8. January, I guess, which is, I think January of 2023, I had $65,000 in sales. In 8 months, $65,000, $750,000. And I ran out of cash at $65,000. I pulled back. Eventually, I let the VAs go because it was going to be a lot of work. But what it proved to me is like a proof of concept. Like I can literally start $1 million drop shipping business within 1 year. And I probably will circle back to it at some point and do it again. But when I do it the second time, I have to make sure I have enough cash. And actually, it's very interesting what happened towards the end is I had to do certain techniques to slow sales down. My biggest seller was furniture. And like I would sell like a piece of furniture like $3,500, one sale. I'm like, I don't have 35. So I asked one of the VAs, I said, I don't want to sell anything that's more than $500. So he had to take out all the listings for the expensive stuff, which was selling. So I was like working so hard to slow sales down towards the end. And I still made $65,000. If money was not an issue, if I had enough money to start with, which probably would have been tens of thousands. I think I started with like 10,000. Like if I had 30, 40, 50,000, I would have been able to continue probably not within 12 months, probably in 10 months, I would have hit $84,000, which is $1 million. I would have had $1 million business within 1 year, profitable with 3 employees. So I got this close before I ran out of cash. So proof of concept, it can be done. All right. And that's why I say I'm probably going to circle back to it. But quite honestly, it's not my highest priority right now. So if I get to a point, I might hire somebody to say, now I'm going to hire you to start the business and you'll be my general manager. That's the point where I was starting to think about, I need to hire a GM to work with all these employees and to ultimately, handle all the other stuff with the business. Because there's still stuff with the business like tracking the sales and taxes and tax returns and all this kind of stuff that I still had to be involved in. So I still had some level of involvement, but it wasn't that bad. So anyway, this whole idea of system. So this whole idea of drop shipping is a system that I proved makes significant money. And there are people online, that's their business model is drop shipping, and they make millions of dollars in sales. They do very well, and they make a lot more than when they were in the workforce. There's this one guy I would follow. I'll tell you his story. He was an attorney in Manhattan. And he basically hated law. He went to law school because his parents said, you're bright, you're young, you're intelligent, you go to law school, you become a doctor or a lawyer, and that's how you're successful. Okay, so became an attorney, graduated law school, got hired by a law firm in Manhattan, absolutely hated it. And then he saw this video about drop shipping, He said, ooh, that sounds interesting. Like maybe I'll do that. So I forget what he did. He put something up for sale, like at 10 o'clock at night. And he woke up in the morning and said, let me see if I sold any in the morning. One. Ding, one sale. Oh, well. Got on the subway, went underground, came back up out of the subway to go to his job as an attorney that he hated. And you go underground, you lose connectivity, you lose your Wi-Fi. Came back up when he got his Wi-Fi back on, ding, 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 ding. He had like 12 more sales by the time he got to work. He said, that's it, I'm going to quit. he realized he stumbled upon something that he enjoyed far more than being an attorney, which he hated, which he wanted to be an entrepreneur. He wanted to build a business. Then he did that successfully. Then he started online coaching and teaching other people how to do it. And then his real passion, what's this, was to travel the country in a van or like a trailer or like, so that's what he does. So literally he's in like a van and he's just like, oh, I'm in Yosemite Park today. And he's still able to manage his drop shipping business because all he needs is like Wi-Fi, or he gets like one of these big antenna things and he gets online, he answers emails and he does this. And now he's living the life that he always wanted to live as a young, he's still young because he didn't want to be stuck as an attorney, stuck behind a desk. Now he's a millionaire. Drop shipping, who thought? So this idea that there's opportunities out there, it's not just about go to school, get a job that you hate. Go to school, work fast food, even though you hate it. Did I tell you the fellow I ran into at Sarku? The Sarku over by the Target?
Yeah.
So I'm in line at Sarku, it's late. It's like 9 o'clock at night, 10 o'clock at night. There's somebody in front of me. There's this guy behind the counter at Sarku, Japan. And he's so enthusiastic. There's this couple in front. He's like, hey, how you doing? Oh, yeah, I can get you that. What do you want? Yeah, no problem. Yeah, no, I understand. Yeah, sure, I'll get that, man. You're the best. Oh, have a great, wonderful. I'm like, wow, this guy's like, so he's just emitting so much positivity. And same treatment for me. I said, yeah, I don't want that. I want the rice, and I want the dinner, I want the extra sauce, no vegetables. He said, no problem. Yeah, I got you. Yeah. I said, wow, this is amazing. You must really love your job. He said, I absolutely hate this job. I was like, what? He said, I hate this job. Now, mind you, all the other workers who I think are the owners are like right there. He said, no, I absolutely hate this job. I can't wait to leave. But his approach was, I'm going to get something better, but until I do, I might as well have a good attitude around it. But to me, that was amazing. Like the guy, he hated his job, but he still made a decision, I'm going to be positive about it.